I never set out to find the dark web, not in the way most stories like this begin, with curiosity or thrill, seeking or some compulsive need to uncover what lies beneath the layers. I was researching digital folklore for a thesis that never reached its defense, a study of myth in isolated online communities, the kind that gather in corners of the internet so old or so deliberately hidden that their architecture seems less like code and more like ritual, a place where paranoia doesn't just linger but festers, clinging to the walls like mold behind rotting drywall. It was meant to be academic, methodical, detached, but there's a certain threshold you cross after reading enough message board fragments and code-embedded poems, after enough corrupted logs and unsourced metadata leaks. A point where the line between documentation and participation begins to erode. And once you cross it, you don't just study the myth. You become a part of it. Her name, or what passed for one, surfaced first in a malformed file from a decayed Finnish server, buried beneath discussions of sensory deprivation and perception fasting. The phrase was scrawled like a refrain across broken paragraphs. She waits behind the shattered code. Mother of glass sees what bleeds. At first, I assumed it was metaphor, some symbolic kernel in a roleplay scenario, a poetic artifact from some fringe belief system. But I kept seeing it, not just in one place, but scattered across disconnected sources. An abandoned, lucid dreaming forum in French, a Belarusian net art project with no working UI, but dozens of uncommented code lines, whispering the same phrase in glitched syntax, always the same figure, always the same name, Mother of Glass. What finally cracked it open was a Tor address hidden in an old IRC export, accompanied by a 56-character access key tied to a private relay that hadn't responded to pings since 2017. The log didn't say who posted it. The message was simple. Window child, enter alone. Bring no glass. I clicked it, and then the stream began. Low resolution, static heavy. A camera feed from what looked like a sealed room, empty except for a figure seated in the center, wrapped in black cloth from head to foot, facing a tall, cracked window. The window shimmered unnaturally, not like light through glass, but like heat distortion over ice. At first, I thought it was some kind of art piece, a staged performance. But the angle was wrong. The reflection wasn't symmetrical. And then I noticed the figure's face wasn't reflected at all. Instead, where her head should have been, the fractured window showed a hollow cavity, ringed with shards not missing, but multiplying. Dozens of barely perceptible images flicker within each splinter of glass, like a mosaic of different people, mid-scream, mid-sob, mid-silence. You are the 238th child to view the pain. Do not avert your gaze. If you look away, she will reach. I tried to close the window. The browser froze. I forced the tab to quit, but it didn't respond. I yanked the router cable, shut the lid, killed the power. I didn't think it would matter, pulling the plug like that. I'd seen streams hang before, frozen in a frame that never quite fades, the ghost of data waiting for power to return. But this was different. Even in the dark, with the router dead and the battery drained, something in the air felt charged, like the screen had never really turned off, only closed its eyes for a moment. The silence didn't settle. It thickened. My skin itched with static, and the longer I sat there, the more the room felt misaligned, as if the dimensions of it were subtly warping around a center that wasn't me. I stood, or thought I did. It's difficult to say with certainty. Movement lost its rhythm. The edges of objects grew too sharp, as if they had been rendered hastily, as if reality itself was buffering. And every surface, every untouched pane of glass I had ignored until then, began to shimmer faintly, just at the periphery. Not with light, with depth, not reflections, not tricks of the eye, but openings, cold, clean cuts in the world. She was not in the screen anymore. The screens were simply where she was first permitted to bleed through. What the window showed me, that seated figure, that room suspended in entropy, wasn't a warning. It was a blueprint, a ritual space, mirrored through countless instances, stitched across servers and symbols and languages long abandoned. She does not appear. She is installed. Behind code, behind light, behind every structure pretending to be safe, she waits. Not to haunt, not to punish, but to be perceived. Because seeing is the offering, understanding is the sacrifice. And I knew, with the kind of clarity that silences thought, that I hadn't found her. I had been given to her.